All right, so the next one I want to go over, this is the second bracket of my timeline. And this is my medium or intermediate investments. Okay, so from now until I reach my early retirement age. So you see how this is from age 31 to age 45. This is my fire, right? Age 45. And then this is going to be my 59 and a half at the normal retirement age. So I started my fire journey. Again, it was in 2016. And I'm on track to retire early by age 45. When I say retire early, I mean I'm going to retire early from the 9 to 5 job and continue to do what I love, like creating educational content on YouTube or traveling the world. So you'll have to figure out when you're looking to retire early. You don't have to retire early in your 40s. You could be in your early 50s and you want to retire by age 55. You could be 30 years old right now and you want to retire early by 50 years old. If you go back to the first two chapters of this video, I talked about some of the different ways to retire early. You can just rewind back if you need to. So how much do I really need to invest to retire early from the workforce? I don't want to touch any of my long-term investments, right? Like the 401k, TSP, HSA, Roth IRA, or any of that. And I need to build separate assets like taxable investment accounts with dividend-paying stocks, growth stocks, or real estate that will appreciate in value. So I decided to retire from the workforce at the age of 45. And I would like to have $100,000 a year in passive income. And I know $40,000 of that will come from dividends from my taxable investment account. And I'm going to have another $60,000 a year in capital gains, real estate, or cash savings. Okay. Hopefully you guys can read this. And I know I have terrible handwriting. I am working on it and I'm going to get better. I promise. For the first 5 years of my early retirement, this is going to be the most crucial years. So from 45 to about 50, okay, 50 to, and then to 59 and a half. All right. But 45 to 50, these are going to be the most crucial years during my early retirement. And I like to use, probably going to use most likely I'm going to use my cash savings while I'm converting my traditional retirement accounts to Roth accounts. And here's why. And I want you to pay close attention to the strategy. And I'm going to pull up the notepad here. Okay. So I talked about this in the other video too, but this is a really, really good strategy that a lot of people don't know. So I'm going to have, this is me personally, I'm going to have $500,000 in my traditional, this is a key word, traditional portion of my retirement accounts, okay? 401k, TSP, whatever, it doesn't matter. So those are going to be from employer matches, bonuses, and other employer contributions. So those are all going to be in pre-tax dollars, okay? And keep in mind that anytime I convert anything from my traditional account, I'll be required to pay the ordinary income tax for that year, for that same year. So my strategy, I'm not going to convert all $500,000 into my Roth. That would be crazy, right? That would be a lot of taxes that's going to be taken out. But my strategy, I'm going to break it down to, is going to be $50,000 a year for the next 10 years. Because paying $50,000 in taxes sounds way better than $500,000 in taxes, right? So that's going to happen every year from age 45, I'm going to put age here, until age 55. Makes sense, right? So I talked about my early retirement age is 45 to age 55, okay? And the conversion rule requires me, I have to wait 5 years, okay? I have to wait 5 years to make the $50,000 withdrawal. So that's the 5-year rule. So when I make the $50,000 conversion at age 45, then I have to wait until I'm age 50 to start withdrawing every single year that I make the conversion. Okay, so I'm going to say convert, and I'm going to put a different color here. Okay, so age 50 to 60. is when I withdraw the 50K that I convert. Remember that? 50K. Okay. So I do this every single year until I'm 55. So I can make the $50,000 tax-free and penalty-free withdrawal when I'm age 50 until I'm 60 years old. But what do I do between when I'm 45 and 50, right? Because there's a gap here, the gap between 45 and 50. Because when I convert, I get nothing out of it. I have to wait those 5 years. So what I do, because I can't touch that $50,000, one way is to sell. Let me make sure I'm clear on that. Actually, I'm going to make a new page. Here we go. Okay. Age 45 to 50. I'm going to call those the gap years. Okay. For gap years, because I can't touch that $50,000. So one way I'm going to have is to make capital gains. Pretty easy one, right? Capital gains from stocks. Okay. Second way is real estate. It's going to be huge. Now we'll talk about real estate in the future video. Real estate income. Okay. Third, SB lock. This is going to be probably the riskiest method to do it. Okay. And I'm going to get into that. And the fourth will be cash savings for 5 years. Not necessarily 5 years of expenses, but 5 years that can supplement, right? So SB lock, it's not always ideal because how much I can take out, it's called a securities-based lines of credit. I apologize. Yeah, it stands for securities-based lines of credit. It's kind of like the home equity line of credit. Home equity line of credit, you're borrowing from the bank and you're using the equity in your home to borrow against your home, right? SB lock, securities-based. So that means you're using your investment with a taxable investment account, not your retirement account. So you can't do that with the retirement. With the taxable investment account, you're using what you have in your portfolio and leverage that and borrow it from the bank. You basically have a line of credit to use to pay for expenses. You can't use that to reinvest the money at all. Okay, but this is not always ideal. Because how much I can take out depends on the value of my portfolio. So if we experience a bear market, right? So we experienced that just in 2022. And then I could get a collateral call to be forced to sell my investments. So I need to keep that risk in mind. So what's a collateral call? Yeah, good question. So it's kind of like a margin call, right? Some people do borrow money to invest. I don't do that. I never recommend people to borrow money to do that. So let's say my portfolio is $1 million and $1 million and the bank a bank is letting me borrow up to 50% to take out a line of credit for the SB lock. And let's say we went through a bear market. My portfolio now drops from $1 million to $800,000. My line of credit was $500,000 before the bear market, but now it's dropped to $400,000. But if I maxed out that line of credit, then they could do what's called a collateral call on you, or I think it's also called a maintenance call, and say, hey, we want that extra $100,000 back. Okay. And if you don't have the cash to pay it back, then what they would do is to force sell the investments inside your taxable investment account. So if you have, I don't know, say some index fund, and you already lost like 18% like last year, and now you're selling at a further loss. So you need to make sure that you don't bite more than you can chew. Okay. And I'm not personally doing SB lock until I'm like probably have at least $5 million in net worth. And I never recommend anyone from taking out the debt. So just make sure that you're aware of the risk factor when it comes to the SB lock. Now, another way to live on is the cash savings. And this one I'm going to talk about in a little bit. So that means I would need to, let's say, save, I'm going to say $250,000, right, in cash savings to last for 5 years. But my total expense is $100,000. So $50,000, I'm just going to call it at that. Probably going to be a lot less than what I project. But the only downside of having that much cash is the fact that I could lose to inflation, right? I would essentially lose purchasing power for those 5 years. But the upside of using cash savings is that the IRS does not tax me for using my cash savings to live on my early retirement because it's not considered income. So essentially, the only thing I get taxed is the $40,000 in qualified dividends, which is only taxed at long-term capital gains tax. And if you watch my previous live stream, I talked about the 0% capital gains that you could do with the dividend income. So check that out. If you go to my live playlist that was from 2 weeks ago, really valuable video. So let me know if you're getting value out of this video. And I know the chat is only enabled for private members, but you can visit my YouTube page and join my private membership to ask live questions.